DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. I think your pet peeve was just on full display on the TV screen off to our left about 3 minutes ago.
Huh.
Kayla Williams was up there answering questions about the Monday Night Football loss, up 17-6, what went wrong, what happened. That's a tough one to ask, and you're up 17-6 going to the fourth quarter. You score a touchdown, but you lose the game. What's he supposed to say? Our defense couldn't get a stop?
We got to be better.
He can't say that.
Yeah, but I mean, he's the quarterback. He's got to answer for it.
He does. And the 24 points, a 7 more scored by the defense. They had that pick 6. So the offense didn't do anything in the middle of the game. They scored a touchdown the first possession. They scored a touchdown on the last possession. And officially the last possession was like 10 seconds. But the last full possession.
Uh-huh.
But they did nothing in between. Kicked a field goal the whole rest of the game. So that part he can speak to an answer for. But you're the king of, hey, let's not put the entire W or L on the
but you're the quarterback. You have to answer for it. It doesn't matter.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. We're joined now by Shehan Jeyarajah, CBS Sports National College Football writer. Shehan, welcome back to the show.
And thanks so much for having me.
We have a running debate here about, I think the Big 12 has been labeled the fourth, fairly or unfairly, it's been labeled the fourth best conference. And I think it's reflected in the polls. ASU gets beat, they drop all the way out. Michigan gets beat, they still get the benefit of the doubt. And Michigan's got a better brand name. It's about the individual school. It's not just about the whole league, and I get that. But when you rank the teams, do you see the college football nationally and see where the Big 12 fits the same way the pollsters do?
Well, I think that it's a little interesting when you compare the Big 12 to the ACC, because the ACC has a couple of brands that get that credibility, right? Clemson gets that credibility. Mm-hmm. Obviously, I think Florida State, after beating Bama, gets that. Miami gets that. But that's it. Right, like after those schools, the other ACC schools, frankly, aren't even I think that Big 12 schools get more credibility than the other 14 ACC schools. SMU obviously started, but they were in the playoff last year, but they fell all the way out after losing a really, really tight game in double overtime to Baylor. So I think that it's really just that there are 3 brands essentially that have sort of this implicit credibility among voters that others do not have. But I mean, the thing is too, right? You do see, Iowa State jump up. You do see Utah jump up. And so I think that certainly Big 12 schools don't receive enough credibility and enough benefit of the doubt. I mean, I think about, obviously it hasn't been, good opponents as yet, but BYU's destroyed people so far, right? I mean, they're holding teams to 0.6 yards per carry to this point, and they haven't really gotten much of a sniff. I think that TCU should have been in a little bit sooner. Actually, it's funny. We put out our CBS 136 rankings where all of our experts come together and rank the teams. I feel like actually we end up doing a better job because I think that we really do give a lot more credence to some of these teams. But, I think that there is a little bit of I guess, lack of benefit of the doubt the Big 12 teams are given. But I do think that at least, unlike maybe some of those bottom 13 ACC teams, they have a bit more ability to climb their way up.
Speaking of their ability to climb their way up, man, Oklahoma State, are we going to see a repeat of what we saw last year?
I mean, that was just horrendous what happened against Oregon. That's one of the most dominant losses that I've ever seen. And by the way, their last FBS game last year was a 52-0 loss to Colorado. But I think that this one was even worse for a couple of reasons. I mean, one, it was, obviously national TV, a lot of eyes on it. But, I was looking for one thing to take away from that game because you're heading into a season, right? You've got 10 games left. They didn't do a single thing that felt like it was positive in any way. They didn't have a drive that was positive. They had, one pass on a broken Oregon defensive play that was positive to set up the field goal. Other than that, I mean, they might as well have not even shown up. They looked – I don't even want to say they looked like an FCS team because they looked worse than that. They looked like one of the worst teams that I've ever seen playing in that game. I just don't know where you go from here. Obviously, they won't play another team of Oregon's quality and caliber heading forward. But, I just don't know what you hang your hat on. At Oklahoma State, historically, it's been quarterbacks and wide receivers. I don't think that they have either of those things right now, especially with Haas Haney out, their opening day starter. Their defense looks like it's even worse than it was last year. And, I was talking with a colleague who heard from a source, one of the big warning signs that some people around the industry had about Oklahoma State was when you looked at the pool that they were kind of fishing in for transfers, they were more competing with Group of 5, Group of 6 programs than they were with other power conference teams. They were definitely behind the 8 ball in so many ways. So just a horrendous situation. I don't imagine they're going to finish 0-9 in conference again, but if they do, I don't know how you bring Mike Gundy back at that point.
Well, as long as we're on the downers for the league, Army scored 10 points in the fourth quarter to rally past K-State 24-21. Mississippi State hit on a big pass play after blowing a 14-point lead to ASU, but they win the game with 30 seconds left. And Kansas has a 21-6 lead early, is trailing going into the fourth quarter, retakes the lead, and then gives up 2 scores and loses to Missouri. Any season-defining results there? Anything you want to say definitively off that? Any one of those 3 you want to nominate as an immediate bounce back? Hey, it was just one game early. This team's going to be really good. What do you think?
Yeah, I think for me, by far, the biggest warning signs are at Kansas State, just because it's not just one game. It's been all 3 of their games this season. Defensively, they've been a disaster. I have a piece up at CBSSports.com where I kind of get into it, but they have just been totally unable to get off the field. Actually, the crazy thing is last year, for the entire season, they gave up 9 fourth down conversions. This year, through 3 games, they've already given up 10. So, they just cannot get off the field. I don't think that's something that's going to get better. And the other thing, too, is that when you look at their running back specifically, last year they averaged 2.5 yards before contact on running back carries. This year it's down to 1.6. So, this is a team that's just completely underwhelming in the trenches, which is not something that you expect from a Kansas State Chris Kleiman team. I just don't think that that's going to get a whole lot better. For me, I think, you look at that Arizona State game, and it's a disaster. I don't want to overstate that, because it really, you cannot go on the road as a team that won the Big 12 last year, that's a top 15 team, and lose to the worst team in the SEC. You just can't do that, especially, by the way, when you've made some headlines with some of the stuff that you've said about Starkville and Mississippi State. So, you look at the game flow of that game, it's they go down 17-0 because of some dumb mistakes, because they can't get their quarterback in rhythm. They come all the way back because they're clearly the better and more talented team, and a mental mistake on the last play of the game ultimately costs them the game. So, I don't necessarily think that I'm going to throw in the towel on Arizona State as yet, but you just did a whole lot of damage to yourself with the fact that you went and, again, lost to the worst team in the Southeastern Conference.
Well, on the flip side, has anybody done anything to make you think, okay, they are the team to beat or teams to beat?
Well, I think that Iowa State to this point has been incredibly impressive. They were clearly the better team than Kansas State for the entire Dublin game. The game ended up being close score-wise. I don't think that it was that close, in terms of actuality. And I actually feel the same way about the Iowa game. This Iowa game should have probably been, a 10 to 14-point victory based on game flow. They let Iowa get back into it because of some mistakes, but they have been playing incredibly well in all phases of the game. Defensively, they were optimistic that some of their issues in run defense last year were because of injuries, and I think that they've pretty much proved that through the first couple weeks of the year. I've also been very impressed with the way that their passing game has fought. Obviously, they lose 2 receivers to the NFL, and they don't have the dynamic guys like they did last year, but they've come up with a lot of interesting pieces, especially at that tight end position that maybe they didn't have last year. So I think that Iowa State has really elevated themselves as being sort of a team to beat in the Big 12 right now. I think that also, it's been one game, so, we want to see how it really plays out. But, what I saw from TCU against North Carolina is what I hope to see from TCU against North Carolina. They, I think, are as talented, maybe the most talented team in the Big 12 to this point. And I think that they have kind of gotten lost in the mix because, they only go from 5 wins to 9 wins last year. But I think that they're a serious contender. And I'll close it out also with Utah. Utah, of course, I think that UCLA also a pretty bad team. But, they went in there and completely shut them down. I think that with this new offense, Utah definitely looks the part of a true Big 12 contender.
Iowa State's tight ends, granted, I'm suddenly watching way more Iowa State football than I thought I ever would, but Iowa State's tight ends have been really impressive. Burkle's really good. I don't even know if he's the best one. Bramer's made some big-time plays. Do you think they feature them more? Because they beat K-State, and I know it was raining and it was Ireland, so it's kind of weird, but they didn't throw for 200 yards in that game. And I know Iowa's got a good defense, but didn't throw for 200 yards in that game. And I'm thinking with those two tight ends, we've seen teams here at Utah and BYU, when they get two tight ends that can get into the passing game, in the case of Utah, they've actually had even more than two sometimes, it's devastating. And teams just don't match up. So I'm wondering if they emphasize those guys and get a little better passing game. They got a third-year starting quarterback, so they're winning, so I guess I shouldn't complain too much, but winning while throwing for less than 200 yards, given who they have at tight end and quarterback, seems surprising.
Yeah, I think that we're definitely going to see more out of it, right? I mean, Iowa, like you mentioned, one of the best defenses in the country every single year, and it's just one of those ugly type games every single year between Iowa and Iowa State. And the Kansas State game, I mean, I think that Kansas State's been okay against the pass. It's really been the run where they've struggled. So I think that when they get into Big 12 play, I agree. This is going to be a huge dynamic. And the other thing that I'll mention, too, is that having Bramer and having Burkle as well, like that sets such a floor for your offense. But, they actually do have some receivers who could potentially raise their ceiling. I'm thinking of a guy like Chase Sowell coming over from East Carolina. He's supposed to be a big part of the downfield part of this game. I think that he'll continue to get better across the year. Dominic Overby was a player who only had one catch last year as a true freshman. Now as a redshirt freshman has come in, been a big-time player. Xavier Townsend coming over from UCF. So I think that they've almost not even scratched the surface of what this passing game can be. So I think that by the time we start getting into October and November, this will be a really formidable passing attack.
You didn't mention BYU when we're talking about teams. Is it just your doubt on Bachmeier, the freshman?
No, not at all. I mean, they've played two of the worst teams in the country to this point, one at the Power Conference level, one at, really, Portland State might be the worst team in all of Division I after what they've done the first couple of weeks. So I'm just a little bit in wait-and-see mode on their offense. I was hoping to see a little bit more, certainly, from Bachmeier in that offense in the game against Stanford. It was, the defense is everything that was promised and expected. That linebacker combo of Jack Kelly and Isaiah Glasker, it is just absolutely unbelievable. But, the offense, I think, especially the passing game, they were very conservative. I don't know if they just didn't want to try to put him in bad spots, but this is also the moments where you kind of hope to see the offense grow just a little bit. So I just didn't see quite enough from there in that first FBS start against Stanford to clearly put them back in the conversation. But they certainly proved that they have at least the defense to very much get back into that conversation if Bear can continue to come along.
As much as Stanford is terrible, UCLA now 0-2. Could they actually be working on last place in the Big Ten in a 2-10 season? I've never seen a 2-win team at UCLA in my lifetime, but, man, it's been an awful 2 weeks for these guys.
Yeah, it has been really, really bad. Obviously going to have some competition from, Northwestern looks really bad. Purdue, obviously with the first-year coach. But, I think that UCLA has played down to just about all of them. And when you look at some of the talent that they have on both sides, it's really kind of inexplicable. Obviously Nico's going to get a lot of the attention. And I frankly thought that Nico was fine in the UNLV game. But the defense is just horrendous, just absolutely horrible. They haven't run the ball well enough despite bringing in a couple of talented running backs and offensive linemen. This is just a poorly coached, poorly prepared, poorly built team to this point. And, I think that Deshaun Foster was put into a really bad spot. He was hired in February after Chip Kelly left to become offensive coordinator at Ohio State. But, I don't think he's taking advantage of the opportunity either. I think that this is as bad about a start to the Big Ten slate as you could have had for UCLA. And, again, when you look at the number of bad teams in that conference, to be the absolute worst, like you said, it's almost never happened at UCLA.
What do you think of Saban kind of whining about the SEC doesn't have the money when they've been paying guys forever and ever, and now with the NIL, the Big Ten has a distinct advantage? Yeah,
it's interesting, right? I think historically in the SEC, that proximity obviously has been a huge factor. But with the money being what it is now, getting it, it's one thing to get a couple $1,000s. It's another to be signing essentially pro contracts. You don't see NFL players complaining that they have to move to Green Bay or whatever, because ultimately it's a business. And I think that that's the biggest thing that's changed. And, like you said, SEC teams have been in many ways ahead of the curve. And this was a conversation I was having with colleagues last year. It's well, if the Michigan money cannon opens up, right? How does that change things? If Ohio State is really throwing their money around, if Wisconsin, there are so many Big Ten schools that have multiple billionaires that are in major metros with access to a lot of money. And I don't think enough people realize, Alabama is only has one billionaire in the entire state, and he's an Auburn fan. So, this is just this is, I think, kind of the state of things. And, I think that it's a little rich, like you said, to kind of try to cry poor about it, when really, I think that when you look at these Big Ten and Northern schools, and even if you want to include some of the Big 12 schools that are getting into the mix, like Texas Tech and BYU, ultimately, this is creating a little bit more of an even playing surface than there's ever been. And frankly, the SEC isn't used to there being a truly even playing surface, at least in the last 20 years.
You mentioned Texas Tech and all that money. 62-14 over Kent State, 67-7 over Arkansas Pine Bluff. Do we know anything for real? Obviously they got the Utes coming up, 10 a.m. game, Big Fox in 2 weeks. But it feels like Oregon State, this going from the Pac-12 to the Pac-2 and the transfer portal has just crushed the Oregon State program. So I don't know that I'm going to get much of a read on Texas Tech. I don't know how much you feel like you know. They spent a lot of money and they're winning big, but given the level of competition, I don't know what I know about them.
Yeah, we know absolutely nothing about them to this point. Now, I will say, I don't think that we could learn anything positive from games like this. We certainly could learn something negative about them, and we haven't done that because they've 100% jumped on their throats, put teams away, been up 28-0 at the end of first quarters. That's I think, exactly what you hope for them to do. But, also demolishing MAC teams, and by the way, the worst teams in the country, it's just not obviously going to prove that you belong in that discussion. I obviously mentioned my Big 12 contenders right now. I did not include Texas Tech in that just because I don't think that they've had an opportunity to prove that they belong there. And like you said, it starts with a road trip to Utah on Big Noon kickoff. That's going to, I think, be a huge game. One of the biggest games in Texas Tech recent program history, I would argue, because Utah has kind of proven themselves right now as the class of the Big 12 so far with the wins that they've had. So I don't think that we know anything as yet. I don't think we're going to learn anything against Oregon State, but they've done everything that they've needed to do to this point to at least keep themselves alive.
Ryan Staub wins the job at Colorado as the third-string quarterback. I don't know anything about Ryan Staub other than they gave him 2 series and he cashed in big time. Do you know much about Ryan Staub?
Yeah, well, what's interesting is that he actually came to campus as part of Carl Durrell's recruiting class. So, when Deion Sanders comes in and says, I'm bringing my own luggage and it's Gucci or it's Louis, sorry. He was one of those guys in the room who was told, you're not going to get considered that way. But, he really stuck things out. He stayed. He won the backup quarterback job behind Shador the last 2 years. And he's just stuck around and done things right. And, of course, they recruited over him. They brought in a transfer in Caden Salter and a 5-star freshman in Julian Lewis. And he just stuck around. And now that his moment has come, he's stepped up. Now, I think that what's really interesting is that I do feel like there's an aspect of this of, I think that Deion Sanders has a very NFL mindset in the sense of player acquisition of let's try to get better players to fill our holes. Well, I think Ryan Staub is much more the story of college football, which is, man, you just got to take the kids that you have and make them better. And he's been in this system now for 3 years. He's obviously he was under Pat Shurmur last year, their offensive coordinator, and he's proven himself in a big way. So he comes off the bench in a spot where Colorado, by the way, looks pretty bad against a group of 5 opponent and delivers big performance. So I think it's a huge testament to him that he stuck around and proved himself. And I would not be surprised if this is just their guy moving forward.
Shehan, we appreciate it as always. Thanks for joining us. We'll talk to you again next week.
Thank you so much for having me.
Shehan Jeyarajah, join us here, CBS Sports national college football writer.
He proved my point.
And that is?
Utah gets over-respected.
Tech, he's waiting on Tech, but he's not waiting on Utah.
Yeah, and they played the worst team in the Big Ten. And they played Cal Raleigh. But yet they have proven it.
Right.
Utah is the most loved-up team.
Get the maximum amount of love possible.
Almost in all of college football. I mean, I love Utah. You love Utah.
Everybody loves Utah.
But they are Barney the dinosaur. I mean, they get so much love.
We haven't learned anything about Texas Tech's transfers, but we know that Utah's transfers can do it.
Yeah.
The parallels are striking.
Right.
Except his reaction is different.
Yeah.
It's like he knows he's seen Utah now. He's seen enough, but he hasn't seen enough from Texas Tech.
Yeah.
And they have transfers.
But he acknowledged that Deshaun Foster's team
both are overmatched.
might be the worst
completely overmatched
in the Big Ten.
Just giving them. They don't get to play Purdue. They do get to play Northwestern here in 2 weeks. And like if they can't beat New Mexico and Northwestern, they're not going to win this year. Like if they're going to win 2 games, it's the next 2 games right in front of them. And then to get a third win, you just have to hope there's an upset somewhere along. Maybe Michigan State or somebody. It's a mess.
It's great to be a Ute fan. It's a great day to be a Ute.
If you like 10 a.m. games, which we seem to be getting a mixed result on. I think it begs for a poll question. Gives me something to do during the break. Everything you missed in this show next. Stay with us.
Hey, bro.
You hear us every day with our crazy opinions.
Hey, what you doing?
Well, now it's time to hear from you.
Hey, great show.
Download the KSL Sports app and fire off your thoughts with the call-in tab on the bottom of your screen.
Your show is fantastic. It's the one that captivates me the most.
You can tell PK to stop singing.
G-Bass! G-Bass!
Let Jake and Ben know what you really think of the Jazz. Woo! Tell Hans and Scotty about your favorite barbecue spot or what color of tie JJ should be wearing on TV. The best entries will be played on the air. Download the KSL Sports app now and hit the call-in button to let your voice be heard.
I think you guys do an incredible job.
This is 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
Time for the Slacker Radio headlines, brought to you by Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan Wealth today, your local trusted financial fiduciary at 801-899-7600 or visit their website at TrajanWealth.com. Monday Night Football to the Vikings, 27-24 over the Bears. Let the Bears have the lead for 3 quarters, look terrible on offense, and then dominate the fourth quarter. 3 fourth-quarter touchdowns for the Vikings, and they beat the Bears 27-24. Good comeback, J.J. McCarthy. Couple touchdown passes and a TD run late.
J.J. McCarthy. Yes, about as well as it can go. You won the game and you played well. You had to play well, and he did. I mean, I don't care that he didn't play well for 4 quarters in his first start. That might be too much to ask. But, they expended a high pick on him, and you never know about these quarterbacks and high picks. Now, it's just one game, so let's not go nutso. But he did have the benefit of basically the pro version of redshirting last year.
The pro version, sitting out.
Yeah. And there's something to be said for that.
Yeah. Kevin O'Connell's going to have an awesome rep with quarterbacks if he keeps this up. If McCarthy does it, Darnold had a big year last year. Before that, they had Kirk Cousins. It seems like every quarterback who goes into Minnesota plays well, if this can be sustained by McCarthy, assuming we see more from him of what we saw in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, is it like if you were a fired coach, go down to Saban and he'll resurrect you?
Yep.
I've often said that the former Aztec quarterbacks make great NFL coaches.
Do you have other examples?
Yes.
Other former Aztec quarterbacks?
Brian Stipe, man, at the high school level in Ohio.
Crushed it, huh?
Yeah.
There you go.
This is the same O'Connell, isn't it?
It is.
Okay.
Yes.
I figured
yes,
it
when
had
you say
to been.
when you say
goodbye, I say hello?
No. Oh. When you say you have to hire one of your own, you have to hire one of your own. And so another quarterback, they gave him a shot, Tom Kraft, and he couldn't quite get it figured out. Played a lot of big time teams close and couldn't win the games, and they eventually let him go. he's the one guy. Now they got a guy, but he's an NFL guy, so I guess it's a little bit of BYU and Andy Reid.
Right. We want O'Connell to come home.
Come home. Leave the NFL for a G5 school. Take a massive pay cut.
Andy Reid at 72. Come home.
Come home, Andy.
Well, I only want him to come home when it's not winning. When it's winning, you're
fine. Yeah, you don't need to come home. But yeah.
Right. And so BYU's winning now, so the talk of Andy Reid is quieted.
It's quieted down.
My finest moment.
Plus, he's not in his late 50s, early 60s.
He's like 66, 67. My finest moment, one of the great moments, is sitting in a hotel room in Fort Collins, Colorado, and going to cover the BYU game that night against Colorado State, obviously, and the Philadelphia Inquirer. So I'm working for the Watchdog. Mm-hmm. The Philadelphia Inquirer calls me and wants the lowdown on how this job works. And because they want to know about Andy Reid. He's coaching the Eagles at the time. Mm-hmm. And I said, they won't make it a calling because you're going to pay. Mm-hmm. Callings, you don't get paid, blah, blah, blah. And they're asking me all this stuff. So I give them all this stuff, and they run it. But all the quotes were anonymous, and I'm working for the Watchdog, and the D-News picks up the story verbatim, and those are my quotes.
Nice. So
a source familiar with the situation says
it was all me.
So the Salt Lake Tribune was the source.
Yes, it was. Yes. It was like
the media quoting the media
anonymously. 3:00 in the afternoon, and I'm literally sitting in the hotel bed in Fort Collins, waiting to go to the stadium.
Watching TV, doing nothing.
Yeah, because it's a Thursday.
Yeah.
I used to always have on the CNN headlines.
The old school.
Yeah. We're going back a long time ago. Yeah, and I'd have that on and
CNN headline news.
Yeah, I didn't care what else was on television. If they would have had The View back then, that would have been different. I would have been glued to that. But yeah, I gave them all this information on it, knowing full well that the powers that be wanted Gary anyway, so that was what was going to happen. And then I'm in Puerto Rico and watching Brandon Doman lead the Cougars back to the Utes, over the Utes in Lavelle's last game, because I'm down there for basketball. And so I didn't cover that game. They sent me for basketball. I think the Utes were playing. And the guy who was, I think, potentially runner-up for the job, his brother was, I can't think of his name, but his brother was a superintendent of the Alpine School District or something. And he says, yeah, they're giving it to Croton. So that's how I found out, in Puerto Rico, sitting on the bed, watching the Cougars and Utes play on Thanksgiving Day back in Salt Lake City.
Happy Thanksgiving.
And he told me that he found out that it was going to be Croton. You know, I found out about Bronco getting the job.
Bronco?
No, Ronnie Mack.
Oh,
that guy. I don't know how he does it, but has always been a plethora of information.
Mac knows a lot of people.
Yes,
and he talks football all the time. He loves football.
Yeah.
What Kyle said when you asked him that question for the story he did on the Ring of Honor, and he said, "Yeah, I think he's still working kids out. He does. He knows high school kids. And he doesn't want to mispronounce their names or mix and match one kid's first name and another last name. So I always talk about the tackle at the school, right? The linebacker at this school. But he's always right. Sometimes you have to follow up to absolutely nail it down, but he's always, he knows. He goes works kids out on a Saturday morning.
I can remember him talking about Robert Turbin.
Yeah.
I think was he the Weber coach at the time?
Yeah, that's about right.
And he started pumping up Robert Turbin. Mm-hmm. And then he has a big game against Utah a few weeks later, and then he goes to the NFL, and now he's doing broadcasting.
Yeah.
And he was right about that one.
He was right about that one, too. It's a football lifer. Texas coach Steve Sarkisian. So Arch Manning's making faces, throwing the ball. And so there's a post-game question about, it was yesterday's press conference. Yesterday's press conference, Monday. Not post-game. About, is he injured? He appeared to be having, and so it led to a super awkward back and forth that ended with a super awkward analogy, and let's just listen for ourselves.
Arch Manning seemed to be having some throwing pains by the
According to who?
Arch.
Arch said that to you?
No.
Oh, according to who?
It just looked like he was.
He doesn't have any.
Is there an explanation to why it looked like that?
I don't know. I've never filmed any of you guys when you're using the bathroom, so I don't know what faces you make when you're doing that.
I make the standard faces. Nothing out of the unusual.
Straight to the bathroom. Okay.
In fact, keep talking for a little bit here. Go ahead.
I don't know. What are you doing over there? What are you coming up with?
Yeah, what are you doing?
That was just super awkward. Where are you going with that, Steve?
That made no sense.
No. And now if Arch Manning ends up with a shoulder or elbow or whatever injury in a week or 2 or 3, it's going to look really bad.
It's funny. I just posed that picture just the other day.
What is wrong with you?
You know where that was?
No, I don't.
That was on the ferry from L.A. Harbor over to Catalina.
Oh, okay. You want to describe it to people?
No.
Okay. We had Kalani Sitake on earlier in the show. Is there anything you'd like to tell the people about our conversation with Kalani?
You know, the program's in such a good spot, and you can hear it in his voice, man. They just want to continue what they're doing. And that's good. And we all love the guy, obviously. Have known him. And his wife thinks I'm funny, so that makes me feel good. I used to talk to her when they were at Utah. And it's all different now. They all meet on the side, what's that, 4 South?
Mm-hmm.
Well, back before they redid the end zone, they would all meet on the south end zone. The players would come out.
And they still could, but they don't.
No, because they take the elevator up and go out to the street level. Yeah. So all the families and fans are there. And we used to come out of the media room after interviews, I'd see people and invariably chat. Although I chat now. In fact, Lander Barton's mother saw me, and she reached out her hand, and we shook hands.
All right.
And I told my wife, and we've known the family. My wife had the kid in school, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you know what's crazy is either after games, at airports, at stadiums, I've seen Mr. and Mrs. Barton now for freaking over 10 years.
I know.
And now
this is it. This is the last kid. This is it.
I've been saying hello to them, talking to them. Paul is a fan of the show, the dad.
Yeah.
And so I've gotten that. I mean, we're not besties, but we can converse. And I was thinking I said that to my wife when I got home. I have literally been doing this with them for a decade.
Yeah.
Now it's going to be over. This is crazy.
It feels like you're breaking up.
I know. I don't think that I've known a set of parents relating to the program this long. I can't imagine.
No, it's just, but they've had so many kids who are so talented, and the way they're spaced out, right? Yeah. And the way they're spaced out age-wise.
Yeah. And I've said hello to a few parents.
Sure.
They recognize me and so forth over
But
the
how many
years.
parents send 3 kids to the same program
I know.
and have them spaced out so they're born 2-3 years apart? And
this is amazing.
Yeah.
That last game is going to be emotional for me when I see them.
You have to trade numbers and stay in touch. 49ers have lost George Kittle multiple weeks. Hamstring injury. Brock Purdy's status for this week uncertain due to shoulder and toe injuries. A good road win in a division game on the turf in Seattle, but there's a price to pay. And now the Niners are going to be shorthanded.
Who are they playing?
That is an excellent question. Yak, who are your guys playing? Oh, come on, Yak. You call yourself a fan? I can look it up. I thought you would know. Saints, Cardinals, Jaguars. Not exactly a crushing stretch right here.
Maybe I have my lock for the week already.
You just keep picking whoever's playing the Saints. That's your strategy.
Well, I'm just saying, because the Niners are walking.
But without Purdy,
Mac Jones.
Mac Jones time, baby.
He's been in the league for a while.
Yes.
A guy that Shanahan reportedly wanted to draft, but.
Oh, he did, huh? Okay. All right.
Dodgers had a no-no. Second time in 3 games. It's been broke up in the 9th inning. But this time they held it together and won the game. Probably helped that they were only playing the Rockies. They won 3-1.
That's the most important thing, obviously.
Yep. Stayed a game in front of the Padres in the National League West. Padres beat the Reds 4-3 on a very dramatic walk-off sacrifice fly. Now it's got a little too worked up for PK's taste.
Yeah, a sac fly.
I think it's because they were down 3-0 in the game and they'd lost 9 of 13. I think he was just happy they won.
Okay. That's all that matters over the Reds?
Yes, which is a big deal for the Mets because the Mets have the last wild card and they got shut out by the Phillies 1-0. But the Reds have dropped back to 500 now with that loss. So I think the Mets are – they haven't locked it up yet, but they're feeling pretty good about their chances, I would expect.
Yeah, and the Guardians guy had a no-no late in the game.
Cleveland wins 10-2. Slade Ciccone?
Yes.
Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Okay.
And the reason why I know that.
He had a no-hit bid into the 8th when it was broken up.
Yeah, because the Diamondbacks traded him away in the offseason for a player who's no longer on the roster.
Awesome. You got to feel good about that.
And they suck pitching.
Nobody has enough pitching.
Yeah, but they
They
suck
really
pitching.
don't have enough pitching.
Yeah. And a lot of it's injuries, but nevertheless.
Yep. All right, there you go. That's what we've been talking about this morning. If you missed the interview with Kalani Sitake, get it wherever you get your podcasts. And also with Shehan Jeyarajah, who does not trust Texas Tech's transfers, but does trust the Utah transfers.
More love for the Utes.
When we come back, your feedback next. Stay with us. Join Hans and Scotty G at Edge Power Sports and Draper Thursday from noon to 3. Get ready for their Suzuki demo event on Friday and Saturday and come in for a test drive. Edge Power Sports, where adventure begins and the thrill never ends. DJ and PK, it is time for your feedback. Got a lot of people weighing in. When do you want your football team to kick off at home? We got a poll question up. 54% of the people want the 5 o'clock kickoff. Don't want the late night PK, but they want all day to either get stuff done or hang out and tailgate, or maybe a little bit of both.
A 5 o'clock kickoff
5
this
o'clock
time of year would be awesome.
Yeah. 20% for 1:30, 16% for the 8:15 window, and 10% of the people like 10 a.m.
So 10's in the minority?
10 is at the very bottom of the list right now. It's early on. We're not even 100 votes yet.
That's what I thought.
Go to Twitter, David DJ James, and vote away. Volky, I love 10 a.m. I love breakfast food and Bloody Marys, and then after the game, I can grill burgers and dogs and let traffic clear. 10 a.m. is best.
Yeah, I love Bloody Marys. What are they?
Booze.
I know that, but what?
I don't know. Yeah. They're
I've never had a Bloody Mary.
They're red, so I think it's got
was that where the blood?
V8 or something, yeah.
V8?
I think so. I don't know. Someone text in.
Like a motor.
No, like V8 juice. Stop.
Now, what's the liquor come in?
I don't know. Someone text it.
A classic Bloody Mary contains vodka, tomato juice, Worcestershire sauce, hot sauce, lemon juice, horseradish, and a seasoning like salt, pepper, and celery salt.
Man, you gotta have all that?
That's what it says. A classic, yeah.
Ooh.
Just give me a Coors Light.
Keep it simple.
Yeah, jeez, I don't want to go through that much trouble.
Drew says 10 a.m. That's a great start time. It gives us more time to listen to Utah complain about why things didn't go their way.
Oh,
see what Drew did there?
Well, what do you mean? Gives you more time? The time everyone has 24 hours in a day. The time is the same.
Yeah, but at 8:15 at night, you don't get to listen. Yeah, more post game. Got to go to bed after those 8:15 games.
Oh, gotcha.
He wants post game complaining.
Because you can do it the next day, but if you're talking about the literal post game show,
yeah,
you know that referee, that call.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That changed everything.
I want the Utes to win the conference, and I want to be down there, and before the coaches and players come into the media room for the interview, I want to jump up there. I just want to say, I'm very happy that we're in the Big 12.
Okay. Borderline ecstatic? Thrilled?
There was a time initially I wasn't, but I am now.
Dan at Utah State, he's USU, the right blue. 10 a.m. isn't really early. But if you're going to go to the game, I guess you need to get up earlier depending on your morning routine.
10 a.m. is early for a kickoff. What are you talking about?
It's just not early in the day. He's just like, I can get to a 10 a.m. kickoff. What's the problem? That's basically his deal.
Well, when does your day start? At 2 in the morning?
7, 8. I don't know.
Then we'll talk about how they got to get up at 6 because they got all that scienced out, and you got to do
For
it
the players.
before, blah,
Yeah,
blah, blah,
right.
yada, yada.
Yeah. Because you got to eat so many hours before the game, and then you got to get up to, right. Peter says, as a Texas Tech alum, whatever disadvantages Utah gets from a 10 a.m. start, I'm down for it.
I think it's flush. I don't think that it's a wash.
Everybody's got to get up early.
Yeah.
Tom, they're not in the afternoons anymore.
They're not in the afternoons anymore.
Yak, you got that?
No, that died.
They're not in the afternoons anymore.
Yeah, buddy. Well, you ain't going to be in the afternoons anymore either.
Ty says better get used to it. That's the Big Ten schedule.
Not in the afternoon anymore.
Shut up while Bronco's talking. It's not your time to talk.
Not in the afternoon anymore.
Shut up.
And then we got this one left over from yesterday when we were saying BYU hasn't given up a touchdown through 2 games. How good is his defense? And Lane says, well, I'm sure Ute fans will let us know. To which Epicurus responds, Lions don't compare themselves to sheep.
Ah.
There it is.
Bah.
Let them have it.
But do Tigers compare themselves to bears?
Oh, nice. We do have people weighing in. We didn't get a lot of reaction to this, but why aren't the Giants starting corner Canyon star Jackson Dart? Can't we all see this isn't going anywhere? And they're going to make the change at some point. Why not make it now?
Yes.
Right? And Marty says, why rush it? Let him sit behind Russ and learn a bit. It's not like the Giants are going anywhere this season.
What's the best way to learn?
Go out there and play. Give it a shot.
I say get him out there, man. Come on. Let's go. Get him in the Giants need a jolt.
They do. They are going nowhere, again.
Yeah.
And the offense, 2 field goals against Washington.
Jets and Giants have sucked for so long.
They're under your, pick the best spot in the schedule to bring the guy in. And you did this at BYU. We were talking Zach Wilson, midway through the year, the schedule set up for him. This year, Bear Bachmeier set up right away.
Did it.
Right. So they Giants open Cowboys, Commanders, Chiefs, Chargers.
I just don't know. I don't know. It's the NFL, though.
It's the NFL. Saints, Eagles, Broncos, Eagles.
Name me a guaranteed soft spot. You got.
There are better and worse defenses.
Sure,
though.
but are they that much better? Are they that much worse? And so but what they did, you looking for a literal individual game. Mm-hmm. They did with Zach Wilson a slate of games.
Yeah, you're right. There was a half dozen games there that lined up for him. DJ and PK, we're out of time. Jake and Ben are next right here on The Zone.